Thanks very much, Arif. Next presenter is Rochelle Williams from Monash, and she's pretty eager to get into it. And she's been an applications administrator at Monash for 2 years. I thought you'd been there longer than that. Oh, okay. Yeah. And she looks after Primo and some of the Voyager admin functions. She also manages a whole pile of ad hoc library apps, such as the publishing apps, the library website, and the PC Finder. So.
Where do we start? I guess I want to acknowledge or respond to Arif's future works that they plan to do. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Swinburne, care of Justin, they actually implemented some sort of bit.ly shortcuts on their website. So instead of you having that long URL, you can just click on that and it provides you the bit.ly. Right? Yep. And the other thing is, I guess I can share with you one of the bolt-ons that we've created. So the three things I'll be sharing with you is a push-to plugin, which we call Stable Links. And another thing is the Excel file splitter, which actually integrates over, or what do you call this? It actually overlaps with what Joo-Min mentioned earlier and the file splitter that Arif also mentioned. And a script that we've written in Perl, which helps you to do bulk deletion for Primo. Yes. Okay, let me start off with this push-to plugin. So when you access your Primo, you've got the send to options on a specific search record. Now this will allow the user to be able to bookmark a specific record. So instead of you having that very long URL, you've got the shortened URL to display the Primo Central record, or you can also have just the shortened URL for your direct record. So how did we do this? Let me just show you a demo. So this is our version. We called it search. So it's kind of hard doing the marketing for it, search in search. Anyways, that's their decision. So for example here, I've added a search for biology. We've added one of the options as stable links. So we initially started calling it short links, and then marketing said, oh, let's change it to stable links. So when you click on this, a pop-up window will come up. And it's timed out. All right, let's do it again. Okay, so if you click on locations, the send to tab, click on stable links, so the pop-up window will say, you can now bookmark this URL for your use. Or you can copy it and then use it, send it as an email. So if, for example, you want to click on that, it just goes to that particular record. So it's like deep linking to that record. So you can do the same thing for Primo Central records. So it's not just your local collection. So thankfully now you can deep link to Primo Central. You've had there were issues before that you can't do that. So, yep, we're just doing that. So how did we implement it? I guess this is the technical side of things. So there's some coding. It's actually more of compiling involved. We can give you the code, and feel free to copy it and just use it. So all you need, yes? Oh yeah. So all you need is the Java code. You'll be doing this on the front-end server. So it depends on your setup. If you've got 2 front-end servers, you have to do it on both of them. And then you'll also be needing the jar files. So these are Exlibris Java libraries. So this exists on your server. So all you need to do is just locate them within the server, or if not, I can also direct you to which files they are. So I'm happy to do that. Just copy them into one directory, just so it makes it simple to compile. And then during the compilation, you just need to do set the environment class paths, and then compile. Once you've compiled, it generates a class file, and this class file should be copied onto the utilities directory, and then just restart the front-end service. Then you need to make changes to the back office. So just register the Java code that you've added. So we've called it short links for this case, and then deploy. And then because we had to change the name from short links to stable links, you need to make the changes on the code tables. So it's under the keeping this item tile code or table name, and just specify and modify it here. And then don't forget to deploy it as well. And that should handle the stable link push to plugin.
You have to do it with each release, like with each primo upgrade or whatever.
If it's a major release, like we've done it, we've recently upgraded from 3 to 4, we had to. But with a minor release, 4.1, 4.2, I don't expect that you need to do that. Yep. Okay, so the next one is the Excel file splitters. So this involves using the normalization rules that was mentioned earlier, and probably a more detailed display on how the file splitter works. So maybe as a background, I'll let you know why we wanted to use this. In Monash, not all of our collection is in Voyager. We've got there are special collections that are stored in Word documents, Excel documents, particularly map collections, Asian studies collections. So because they're so brief, it doesn't really merit them to have a complete MARC record and to be stored in Voyager. And it's a huge collection. We're looking at maybe around 10,000 plus records. And it's just not worth the money in cataloging them. So we just put them into Excel files and all. So because that's the case, they're not available on Primo. So they're not searchable on the front end. So we're hoping that after implementing this, users can search on Primo and can find them easily. This is on our staging server, so it's not in production yet. The reason why we don't have it in priority is because we're focusing our efforts into the ALMA job, which is this year. Okay, so this is an example of what we're expecting in an Excel file. So it's just very brief, like the title, the scale for a map, just the author who published it, when was it created, or where can you locate it. And I'd also like to mention, we didn't write this, so this is written by Ex Libris, but it's also available on the LCommons website. I guess the reason why I'm trying to share this is when I was reading through LCommons, I really found the documentation was very brief, and I found it very confusing to implement. So I thought, okay, I've done it successfully on staging, might as well share it with other people, and hopefully you can find it informative. So, okay, to implement this, you need to do this on the back office server. The earlier one was on the front end server because it's a front end display. This is done on the back office, the back office server. So I don't know how your setup is, but ours, we've got like 5 servers, 2 front ends, 1 back office, and 2 indexers. So I don't know how complicated others' architectures are. You need 2 jar files, which is available on LCommons, or I can email you if you need that, and also the Java code. And then all you need to do is just compile it and put it together into a jar file and just put it into this directory. So this would change depending on what Primo instance you've got, if you've got Primo 3 or Primo 4. Okay. After that, you need to make changes to the back office, just registering the file splitter you've created. And don't forget to deploy. And after which, you'll have to be able to test if the Excel file splitter works. So there is, I think it's under Primo Utilities, somewhere there. And you'll be able to test if your file splitter works. Make sure that you copy an Excel file on the server, because you need to specify the file path, and the file path actually refers to the directory on your server. And if you're successful, it should be able to display to you an XML format from the actual Excel file. Now, you have to create a normalization rule. This is just a mapping of the columns mentioned, and then mapping it to the actual XML file and PNX record that you want. So for example, I used title column, so I'll map it to display table for the PNX record. And then deploy the normalization rule, and then don't forget to create a data source. So this will uniquely identify the records within Primo. Then create a new scope, so you can search this on the front end. Then create your pipe. So you can harvest the Excel files. And once you've done that, you can now run a harvest on those Excel files, and then run an indexing and hot swapping. And hopefully, once you're successful, you can search them on your front end. Okay. So it's very brief. So it depends on how much information you have in the Excel records, then you can display them as well.
Does request work? Does request?
Oh, no. But you can change the code, the label, and say this is not, you cannot request it. Yeah, you'll just change it. Yep. Okay, so that's it for Excel file splitter. Next one is the bulk deletion script. I guess I'd like to acknowledge Peter Jansen, who gave me an idea a year ago. We were having issues with, what do you call this? Records being deleted in Voyager. I think it's a Primo bug or something. They were deleted in Voyager, but they were still existing in Primo. So we had to do it one by one, create an XML file, and then have it processed, and then that's the way you can delete it in Primo. I took that idea and used it for this bulk deletion script. Now, this was for a different purpose, though. We were trying to create a new scope for rare books. So we have our entire collection. We've got 2 million records. And we wanted to weed out all the rare books. And we didn't want to just delete all the 2 million records and leave them behind. So we said, which bib IDs are rare books? And we had a list of all of these and tried to remove them from our existing collection. So if this is our data source and say, this is our rare books, how can we delete them from here? So we wrote this Perl script. So if you've got a Linux machine running with Perl, you've got, you'll be able to run this. So this script, actually, you can configure this by specifying a text file with all the bib IDs that you wanted to delete. Make sure you specify which output directory you want the compressed files to go to. And you can also configure how many XML files are there in a compressed file. Okay. A file name is actually, the syntax for the file name is like this: primo.export, and then the date, hour, the bib ID, the group it's part of, that XML.
Yes.
Sorry,
In the previous slide, you mentioned that you have to specify the number of files in the compressed file.
Yep.
Is that the output or the input into the output?
The compressed file, usually, it contains 1,000 records of XML files. So that's the standard if you do a Voyager extract. But yeah, if you want it to be smaller, you can do that. So that's the syntax for the file name. And then basically, the script just creates an XML file. And what's in the XML file? It's just the identifier, the bib ID, and the status deleted, and then just the date stamp on when the XML file was created. So it's pretty simple. And just process the file as normal. So a regular pipe, just have it run, and then just do our index and hot swapping. And that should delete it from your existing data source. And I guess that's it. So if you've got questions, or if you want the code, feel free to email me. That's my email.